Hello everyone, I'm Uwe from HLRS. The HLRS is a National Supercomputer Center in Stuttgart, Germany. And I'm here this semester to help you with virtual reality. We use virtual reality to present and discuss 3D models, for instance, architecture models, to provide a communication platform to allow all participants in a project to walk together through the building, through the construction, the virtual construction site, and discuss options and see how these 3D structures actually look like and how they work. I will present you a little tutorial on specific 3D Studio extensions which will help you to model interactive features for your 3D objects. So you can start off doing the before mentioned 3D Studio web tutorials or YouTube tutorials to get acquainted to the basic functionality of the software, and after that you could watch this extended little tutorial about the special functionality that I will present to you. Bob. Okay. Danke, dass ihr mir geholfen habt. Achso, das nimmt auf. Welcome to my little 3D Studio and Covise tutorial. Today I want to show you how to model interactive features in 3D Studio, and we'll take the train wagon as an example for your models, but this should work the same way for the ship or the retail store. You can take basically any 3D model, import it into 3D Studio, and then use the software to texture the model and animate features, and after that implement interactive features. And this is what we're going to focus on today. So we will open the train wagon that's already converted to 3D Studio Max. And as you see, this is a very nice model of a railway wagon. I already animated a couple of features, like the doors here. They open and close, and the goal is to have these doors actually working and not only animated. And I will show you how this works afterwards in your virtual environment. If we load this model into our virtual environment, you see the train, the same train as a 3D model we can walk through, and this time once we approach the door it opens magically and we can enter the train. So now if we turn right, there's a sliding door which does not open yet. We have to animate that, and this is what I'm going to show you how to do that. So back to 3D Studio. We want to look inside the train, so the best thing to do is actually get rid of the hood. To do that, I will open the Scene Explorer, and here you see the selected object, that's mesh number 905, and we can click on the little icon to hide this object. So the roof is now gone, and we can open a little more and also hide the roof of these other parts, and now we can nicely look into the train, and this makes it easier for us to do the modeling. Here we go. Right in front of you, you see the door. The door actually consists of multiple objects. It consists of the door panel, the handle, and also two little textures with a non-smoking sign and a second class sign. So if you click on any of these, you see the object and their names highlighted in the object browser, and there you see the parent object is that group number 440. This is all of these together, and now if you look at, if you switch to select and move mode, you get your tripod and can actually move that door around. You can move it left and right. The origin of the door is far away from the door. That makes it difficult to handle. So we will actually go over to the hierarchy menu. So here, this third entry in your toolbox is the hierarchy menu, and there you can select on effect pivot only, which allows you to move the pivot point of this group to the door. You can also use the align feature with alternate A for align, or from the menu, and click on the door itself to align it to the door object. And that's what I did. So now our pivot point is nicely centered, or nicely moved to the minimum point of that object. Now let's animate that real quick. So you click on the auto key feature to start animating. Move your time slider to 50. And now what we do is we move the whole group, the door group, with all of its component to the right. Here we go. And if you turn back time on the time slider, you see how this door moves to the right. Now in order to close it again, you can either move it back to the closed position, or, much easier, you can go down to your animation bar and select the key point from the 0 position, the closed position, and shift drag, so hold down the shift key and move this key point over to time step 100, and this will actually close the door at time step 100. Very easy. Now we have a door which opens and closes again. We can try this out real quick. So you can save your model, save often, save early. The basic rule of computer science applies here as well. So if you go to the File menu and export the current scene, you can select Vermal97 as a file format, and then save this to, for instance, Wagon.wrl, and a little export window will pop out, which allows you to change parameters of the export. All of the default settings should be right for this case. Now the file has been exported, and we can have a look at this in our virtual environment. So here you now see only the non-hidden parts. Everything that we have hidden in 3D Studio is also not exported. You have to keep that in mind. So for the final project, you should make sure that everything has been visible in 3D Studio. Otherwise, it would look strange. And here you see our moving door. The door just opens and closes constantly. This is half of what we wanted. We actually would like to have the door open when we approach it and close whenever we leave the door again. That would be our final goal. Let's try to do that. In order to add this interactivity, we have to use helpers. You find these helpers here in the tool menu under Create of your toolbar, and then you have these different sub-objects like geometry objects, 2D objects, lights, cameras, and then the third last is helpers. That's that triangle, drawing triangle. If you click on it, you're prompted with another drop-down option list. Typically this would default to standard objects. If you open this drop-down list, you can select one of Vermal 97 or cover. So we would look under Vermal 97 extensions, and here you find a list of helpers. The ones that we typically need are touch sensors, that's this one here, time sensors in order to segment animation sequences, and also the proximity sensor will be needed in our projects. If you want to add sound effects, you can use this with audio clips and sound helpers. You need those two to do sound. If you want to add very specific functionality, for instance, a working elevator, which is more than just a single animation of a door, then you might want to add JavaScript to your scene, and this can be done through the script node. Now back to our door problem. We said we would like to open the door whenever we approach it and then close it when we leave. So the first thing we have to do is to split this animation into two pieces. One piece should be from 0 to 50 and the second piece of the animation from 50 to 100. And to do so, we need a time sensor node. So if you create a new time sensor and drag open the icon that looks like a little alarm clock, you created one time sensor. If you switch to the Modify tab up here, then you can change the parameters of this time sensor. First of all, the start time in this case should be 0. We want to start our animation from 0, and we want to end it at 50. This is when the door is open. So the stop time has to be changed to 50. And now we have to tell the system which objects this time sensor should animate. This can be done by picking objects. So you click on Pick Objects, and now you have to select the door group. Please make sure that you actually select the whole group and not only the door handle, for instance. Otherwise, only the door handle animation, currently the door handle is not animated, will be started, and that won't work. So the easiest way to select the door group is by going to the Select by Name, or keyboard shortcut would be H. So here you have the object hierarchy, and you might remember that it was group number 440, which was our door. So we select this group and press the Pick button in order to add it to our selection list here in the time sensor. So this is our first time sensor, which will open the door. It's always good practice to name your objects so that you can find them easily afterwards. So we could call this time sensor TS sliding door open. And now we need a second time sensor which closes the door. And this is most easily done by copying this time sensor. So what I will do is I will shift drag this to the right, which creates a copy of this time sensor, and we will call this not open 01, but time sensor sliding door close. So now we have two time sensors, an open and close time sensor. The close time sensor is not correct yet. It's just a copy of the open time sensor. And if you look at the parameters of this time sensor, you see that we now have to adjust the start and stop time. So the closing part of our animation is from 50 to 100. So we set the start time to 50 and the stop time to 100. Yeah, this is it. Now we have two animations, one which opens the door and one which closes the door. The only thing left to do is to start these animations whenever we approach the sliding door. And this is most easily done with a proximity sensor. Let's create a proximity sensor. So we go to Create, then to Helpers, Verbal 97, and here you find the proximity sensor. Now I will create this proximity sensor in the top-down view. Here we go. So first you open a rectangle and then you define the height of this rectangle, or you can also change these parameters afterwards. So I reckon this is a little too small, so I'll make it a little wider so that we can make sure that we actually hit this proximity sensor whenever we approach the sliding door. Now, going to the Modify panel, we can change the size of the proximity sensor, but we can also add animations to the object lists. There are two lists in this case, an action object list and an exit action object list. So the action object list will be triggered whenever you enter the proximity sensor, and the exit action objects will be triggered whenever you leave this area. So we have to pick the time sensor to open the door for the action object list. This is again most easy done by pressing the H key to select by name, and then we select the time sensor open. That's this one. And for the action object list we do the same, but here we take the close time sensor. This is it. Let's give this a try. We save our work and then export it and overwrite the same file. And once that's done, we can reload our data set in the virtual environment and walk through our train. Let's enter the train. I'll go into the train through the window, and here we are. We animated the second sliding door, and once we approach this door, it opens, and if we either go through or walk back again, it will start to close. This is it. This showed you how you can make a door which automatically opens when you approach it. So you can do similar animations and trigger them by pressing a button. So you could, for instance, take the door handle and use a so-called touch sensor to open the door whenever you click the door handle. That would be another option to implement this. While in this case, even though in the old times of that train, the doors were not automatic, but you actually had to click the handle to make it open, it is recommended to make it automatic. This will ease walking through your virtual model afterwards in the VR environment, because you then don't have to search for the handle and click it and make the door